In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to make a metadata preset that you can use when you import your photos into the Lightroom library. So let's get started. To create a metadata preset, there's a couple of ways. One would be to go down to your metadata section of your information panel, and under here where it says in the metadata heading under preset, where currently mine says none, but if you click on this expansion button, it shows you the presets that I've already created, plus down at the bottom it says edit presets. So you can click on that and it will bring up the preset dialog box. The other way, or another way, is to go to under the metadata menu in Lightroom in the main menu and click on that, and down at the bottom or in the middle it says edit metadata presets, and it brings up the same menu. All right, so you can start from an existing preset by using this pull down, or by default it just says custom, which means you're making some modifications. So let's go and look at some of the information you have. Now in this preset that we're going to create today, it's just going to be generic information that can be applied to basically every image that you import into Lightroom. So there's not going to be any specific information like captions or location or anything like that. So let's just move down and see what you've got. So you've got some basic information, some camera information, and then we get down to copyright. And we want to add some copyright information. So right now, where it says copyright in the red, that's your name, who owns the copyright. So if it were a company, then you'd put that in. If it's some other entity, put that. Otherwise, it's your name. So I'm going to put my name. Oops. And just as a side note, whether you have your images marked as copyrighted or not, they are, if you created them, they are yours, they are copyrighted. This just eliminates any confusion to anybody looking at them externally, like if they're on a web or sent to somebody for a competition or something. This information will be embedded, showing them that yes, indeed, this is copyrighted and not public domain. So under copyright status, again, you've got to pull down, and you can leave it unknown, or you can say copyrighted, which I'm going to do, and you can have public domain. Public domain means that anybody can do anything they want with it. And then usage terms, this isn't necessary either, but I always put it there just as a reminder, and I put all rights reserved. It means I haven't eliminated anything from my copyright privilege. Now there are cases when you want to apply certain licensing information and allow use under certain conditions, and you can put that there if you want, depending on what you're importing. Also, if you have a web page that has copyright and license info, you can put that in here and include that in the metadata of your images. All right, so I've filled in those three, and you can see that they're ticked, so they're going to be included in the metadata. As you scroll down a little further, you can see I've got my name in here, and that's ticked. Creator city, I have that ticked, which is why it's red. It means nothing's in there. So I'm just going to put London. I tend to keep those general. I don't want to be too specific. If I had a business and I wanted people to find my business, then obviously I would put in the address and city of that business. And postal code, phone number, everything else that would help them find my business. But since it's just me, I want to keep it general. And the country. And that's checked. So I have those 3 boxes checked and the data filled in. Now that's pretty much all I'm going to do. I can put this photographer. I'm a photographer. I'll put that in there. And that's it. So keywords is that although there are some, it picked it off the image that's selected in the background here. But it's not checked, so nothing's going to be done. If you have plugins, they may show up in here as well that allows you to add stuff, but we're not doing that in this exercise. All right, so we're done. So now I can say done, and it pops up a screen that says, do you want to save these as a new preset? And I go, yes, I do. So it's a save as, and I give it a name, and I'm going to do demonstration and create. All right, so now I've created a new preset called demonstration. And just to prove that, if you go over here to the metadata section, again under presets where it says none, if I expand that, there's now a new preset called demonstration. And if I click on that, it will apply that preset to the image that's selected, which in this case is this one in the center of the screen. And so if I go down and scroll down, you can see now that it's put in that I'm a photographer, and there's my name in London, United Kingdom. If I go down a little further, it shows that it's copyrighted with all rights reserved. So now that metadata is included in this image. Now remember, this will only be applied to the image if you save the metadata to the image or you export this image, and then this information will be written to the file. Because everything we do in Lightroom is non-destructive. Okay, so now you've got your metadata preset, you've created it, you've saved it. How do you use it? Well, you would click on, when you import, you click on the import button, or you can right click and select import, or you can go to the menu and select import. In this case, I've got a SD card with some images already on it. I'm going to scroll down. Because I don't import suspected duplicates, the stuff that I've already imported is grayed out. But I got some new stuff down here, and they're highlighted and already checked. So that makes it easy. So I don't need to do anything. Lightroom has done all the work for me. So I go over here. I'm not going to file rename, apply during imports, none, but metadata, I want to choose that new one called demonstration that I just created. I could add a keyword like fruit, even though Ritz crackers aren't really fruit, but that's okay. In general, it's fruit. I can always change that later. And then, where am I going to save it? So I'm going to save it into a subfolder, and I'm going to call that subfolder fruit. And what it's going to do when I do that, and it's all going to be in one folder. It's not going to do it by date or anything. So everything's going to go into one folder. And it's going to be in my images folder, and it's going to create this new one. You can see it's italicized, called fruit, and that's where it's going to put the images. So I'm all done. In a recent change in Lightroom, an update, they added this done button down here, which will save your changes, but it won't actually import the data. So be careful of done. You want to select the one in the middle that says import. That's the one that actually does the work. So click on import, and it goes off to my card.
You seem a little tense.
And it's imported those images into Lightroom. Now, if I select any one of these images and I go over here to the metadata, amongst other things, it's going to have my name, photographer, location, and copyright information. And all that was automatically entered by using that metadata preset on import. And that's all there is to it.